Proudly covering all of northeastern and central Pennsylvania, this is Eyewitness News at 5.
Good Wednesday evening, everyone. Glad you could join us tonight. I'm Nick Toma.
I'm Candace Kelly.
All right, well, right on cue, the snow is falling all across northeastern and central Pennsylvania tonight, and this is expected to be a big one.
That's right, and we have live team coverage of this weather event from the roads to airports and more. First, let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Josh Hodell, who's in front of the storm for us. Josh?
All right, Nick and Candace, thank you so much. We've been talking about this storm for the last couple of days. Tonight, it is here. The first thing I want to do is show you the radar. It's been coming at us from the south all afternoon. It's light snow, but it is starting to pick up. So we have pockets of light to moderate snow, and it's only going to get heavier by later this evening and overnight. So we're watching this snow, and we'll continue to do so over the next several hours. Right now, it's coming down at a light to moderate pace across parts of Bradford and Susquehanna counties. Athens, Shashequin, Towanda, Choconut getting some good snow right now. Rush Township in the mix too. Not only does our radar have the ability to see the snow, but we can also use our radar technology to forecast how much more is coming. So I would say through parts of Bradford County around Wyalusing, we're expecting about ½ an inch over the next hour. Even across parts of southern Bradford County, let's say from Leroy Township to Wilmot Township, about ½ an inch in the next couple of hours. And in parts of Wyoming County, our radar is estimating 3 inches in the next 3 hours. Our live team coverage continues right now, and we're going to toss it out to meteorologist Logan Westrope. Logan, good evening.
Hey, good evening, Josh, and we are here live in Mahanoy City. We were driving down Interstate 81. The goal was to try to get to Pottsville this evening, but as you can imagine, the roads were getting pretty slick as we were coming down Interstate 81 southbound. Now, we'll take you for a live look here in Mahanoy City. We are here in Schuylkill County. You can see the snow is falling at a pretty heavy pace, visibility down to around ½ mile, and when I was measuring just a little bit ago, we were looking at around 2 to 3 inches so far here on the ground. Now, I was looking at the radar, looking for an even heavier snow band to approach this area and portions of Schuylkill County, especially as we get into the next half hour or so. So some very heavy snow, and this is only the beginning so far. You can see we really have some snow-covered roads here, and we really haven't seen any plows come through this area quite yet, but we have seen them coming through, but not with the actual plow down and kind of scraping the snow. And there has been some people out here on the streets trying to clean up some of the snow before it gets too heavy, especially with those heavier snow bands moving in tonight. Now, we are going to keep you live here as we go throughout the next several hours with the future newscast. We are going to stay live here in Mahanoy City and give you the latest updates with this storm. Just like I mentioned, it's only the beginning so far. We still have a long way to go as we head throughout the overnight hours, especially with that heavier snow building in. But we're going to send it back to you guys in the studio live here in Mahanoy City. Logan Westrope, Eyewitness News.
All right, Logan, thank you. And as you can see, the snow continues to fall across our region at this hour. And as Josh told us, it will continue through the night. It's already causing some problems on Interstate 80. That part of it is shut down in Clinton County at the I-180 interchange because of a multi-vehicle crash.
There is also, we're told, a lane restriction right now on eastbound I-80 mile marker 248 Luzerne County. That is because of a jackknife tractor trailer. The I-Team's Andy Mahalchik joins us live in Sugarloaf Township tonight. He has the very latest on road conditions in Luzerne County. Andy?
Well, good afternoon, Nick and Kenneth. That jackknife tractor trailer is about 4 miles from where we are. We're on Interstate 81 near the junction of I-80 here in Sugarloaf Township. Now, we're going to give you a live view here. That's a truck heading northbound on I-81. We're near exit 145, which is the West Hazelton exit. The snow is coming down very steadily. It started here about 12:30 this afternoon and has not stopped. It has been going on ever since. Now, you're looking at traffic coming toward you at home, folks. That's 81 south. These are trucks coming up the mountain near Route 93, exit 145. This is near the top of the 80s restaurant, Penn State Hazelton, on top of the mountain. And now the direction we're looking at, now my photographer Mark Albrecht's patting to the right. That's exit 145. The bridge you see there is Route 93 going into the Cunningham Sugarloaf Valley. If you make a right, you're down in the valley. If you make a left, you're going into the borough of West Hazelton. Now, we can tell you, we were driving around this afternoon from McAdoo, Hazelton, in this general area. About several hours ago, roads were already very treacherous, very slippery. Again, from our viewpoint, if you're traveling out there, if you don't have to travel, don't, as PennDOT has said. If you do travel, take it very slow, very cautiously, because the roads here are indeed very slippery and very treacherous. Now, we'll be here throughout the night here in Sugarloaf Township, but people here are dealing with the situation as best they can. Here's what we found earlier today. The snow fell intensely and steadily in McAdoo, Schuylkill County Wednesday afternoon. Road crews are trying to stay ahead of the storm.
What I want them to know is to definitely operate by the snow band. Alleys are very important because emergency vehicles can't get down there. There's a car in the alley, we can't get through, we won't go through because they're hitting something, and if an ambulance has to get through there, we need accessibility to get through there.
And McAdoo does not take a back seat when it comes to snowfall accumulations.
Things are going to get tough if, you know, we're getting 2-3 inches an hour. The thing I fear the most is a breakdown of a vehicle or a piece of equipment, which puts me behind, and then once you fall behind, it's almost impossible to catch back up.
Borough snowplow drivers say they never underestimate snowstorms and want residents to help them out.
They can definitely help out by, if their neighbors parked on the road and they see that they're on the wrong side, maybe knock on their door and remind them that it's a snow ban.
And once again, Interstate 81 here in southern Luzerne County is open and passable, but trucks and traffic is moving, but very slowly indeed. We'll be here throughout tonight with the latest in road conditions, and of course go to PAHomepage.com for the latest information and pictures and images from around the area. Reporting live in Sugarloaf Township, Luzerne County, Andy Michalczyk, Eyewitness News.
All right, good vantage point there, Andy. Thank you. Road conditions are, of course, a huge concern, but, you know, so is air travel.
And Eyewitness News reporter Cody Butler, he's live at the Wilkes-Barre-Scranton International Airport in Avoca with more on that. Cody?
Candace and Nick, good evening. I don't know if you can tell right now, but the snow is still coming down pretty hard here at the airport. In Avoca area, the snow started at about 1:45 this afternoon. Let's take a look at some video. The snow has caused some cancellations to and from the airport. Now, I may sound a little redundant when I'm telling you the locations, because the airport only has flights from the airport to Chicago and Charlotte because of COVID. Now, 3 arrival flights were canceled from Chicago and 1 from Charlotte. Now, a departing flight at about 3 o'clock this afternoon was canceled heading to Charlotte. Now, for tomorrow, 2 flights are already canceled in the morning, American to Charlotte and United to Chicago. Now, I spoke to the executive director here at the airport, and the team here communicates with the airlines to determine of what flights are going to be canceled, and that decision is ultimately up to the airlines. This is what Carl had to say a couple hours ago.
They're also paying very close attention to how weather is here locally, but also they look at what weather is like in Philadelphia or Allentown or Harrisburg or places across the Northeast to make sure that they don't have a situation where an aircraft is stuck in one city and as a result can't get to another destination, which is where they have people booked.
Now, Carl says that the flights that are going to be departing here starting tomorrow afternoon, he believes those will take off on time. Now, coming up on Eyewitness News at 6 o'clock, I don't know if you can see this parking lot, but I'm pretty sure you can. Just imagine of what the runway looks like. This is very similar to what it's looking like, but you can see the crews out there right now. I will give you a glimpse at what they do out on the runway in the tarmac coming up on Eyewitness News at 6. But for now, we're live in Avoca at the Wilkes-Barre-Scranton International Airport. Cody Butler, Eyewitness News.
Everyone's staying put. Cody, thank you. The city of Scranton, they're preparing to battle a sizable snowstorm.
Crews there spent the day loading up plow trucks with rock salt. The city is responsible for more than 265 miles of roads, in addition to all the courts and alleyways in the city. The DPW director there says he has staffing ready to work around the clock with plow trucks at the department's disposal to tackle all those roads.
We're well prepared. I count on the abilities and the knowledge of our staff. They're well trained, well experienced. They know how to maneuver the streets. More importantly, they know the streets.
Scranton DPW expects to use approximately 600 tons of rock salt during the storm cleanup. We'll take a closer look at the city's storm strategy coming up for you on Eyewitness News at 6. And of course, for more on this storm, including information on vehicle and road restrictions, parking bans, and our interactive radar, all you have to do is go to PAHomepage.com.
It is a double hit for restaurants. Pandemic restrictions combined with the snowstorm. How some local restaurants are dealing with both issues.
Plus, it's a problem made worse by the pandemic, distracted driving. Coming up in our consumer report, the increasing number of drivers who admit to distracted driving because of COVID-19.
And then in our health beat, both good and bad news about teen vaping.
Proudly covering all of northeastern and central Pennsylvania, this is Eyewitness News at 6.
And good evening, everyone. Glad you could join us on this Wednesday. I'm Nick Toma.
I'm Candace Kelly. Snow is falling all across northeastern and central Pennsylvania, and it's expected to drop substantial amounts into the overnight hours.
Now, we continue our live team coverage of conditions all across the area. We'll check in with all our reporters in just a minute. But first, let's get the chief meteorologist, Josh Odell. He is inside, and he's checking out the latest track on this storm. Josh?
All right, Nick and Candace, thank you so much. Tonight, we are tracking this winter storm that we've been talking about for days. So let's go ahead and make that radar our first stop. Snow moved in this afternoon. It's really starting to pick up. Moderate to even heavy snow coming down right now. Looks like we have the heaviest snow through parts of central Pennsylvania. Union, Snyder, Northumberland counties for us. From Williamsport, we have a decent band of snow. Lewisburg and Sunbury. Not only can we look at the snow with our radar, but we can also tell how fast it's coming down. And most of these snow bands right now, from Williamsport to Bloomsburg, the rate is about 5 to 10 inches of snow per hour. It doesn't mean you're going to get 5 or 10 inches of snow in the next hour. They're moving, so that's why that will not materialize. It's just a good indication of how hard that snow is falling right now. And we're going to toss it back to Nick and Candace right now as our live team coverage continues.
All right, you got it, Josh. And the expected snowfall leaves property owners with their work really cut out for them. But imagine having to clear hundreds of miles of road.
That's the reality for the largest city in northeastern Pennsylvania. Eyewitness News reporter Mark Hiller is live in Scranton to explain. Mark.
Candace and Nick, major roads like Wyoming Avenue are among the first to get plowed and salted in the Electric City, whether they're state maintained, which is the case of this road, or city maintained. But when it comes to the snow cleanup job facing Scranton DPW, that job could stretch into a couple of days. One Scranton DPW plow truck after another picked up a load of rock salt ready to do battle with the biggest snowstorm forecast to hit the Electric City in 2 years.
We're well prepared. I count on the abilities and the knowledge of our staff. They're well trained, well experienced. They know how to maneuver the streets. More importantly, they know the streets.
More than 265 miles of road extend throughout Scranton, in addition to smaller courts and alleyways. That's a lot of passes 16 recently serviced plow trucks of various sizes will have to make, and a lot of rock salt that crews will have to use.
We'll probably use every bit of 600 ton.
Scranton was sitting on about 800 tons of leftover rock salt from last winter, but had to use a good bit of it on a small storm last Wednesday.
We utilized about 330 tons of road salt that day, so we replenished it.
With road crews scheduled to work around the clock through the storm, the DPW director asks city residents to be patient and stay off the roads as much as possible to let DPW do its job.
They know the conditions of the city as it exists today, and they have the experience of the snow removal from the past. So I have full confidence in our abilities to perform whatever hits us.
Preamble says that once road crews tackle the initial plowing and salting, they'll then shift into what is called post-storm cleanup mode. That'll stretch from Thursday into Friday. And oh, by the way, the city of Scranton has already ordered 750 tons more rock salt. That delivery should be made next week. Live in Scranton tonight, Mark Hiller, Eyewitness News.
Mark, thanks. And because of the snow cleanup, Scranton's garbage and recycling pickup for the rest of the week will be pushed back a day.
They are sometimes called the first line of defense in emergencies, 911 centers. They literally answer the call for help. Well, today they are already dealing with calls from the impact of the snowstorm. The I-Team's Andy Mahalchuk is live now in Sugarloaf Township with the story and the very latest on the road conditions there. Andy?
Well, good evening, Candace. I can tell you, as Josh was talking about before, the wind is really starting to pick up now. We're on overlooking I-81 in Sugarloaf Township now. As you're looking at your TV screen, folks, the traffic coming toward you is heading on 81 south and exit 145, which is the West Hazelton exit by the well-known Top of the 80s restaurant. The traffic you see on the right-hand side with the brake lights, that's 81 north heading toward Wilkes-Barre. We are about 2 miles south of the junction of Interstate 80. And as you said, Candace, 911 centers are the first line of defense, so it's called. And 911 officials right now are dealing with phone calls of all kinds of emergencies, including those connected to the snowstorm. But 911 officials are urging people, do not call any 911 center with non-emergencies. You're tying up the lines, and that could affect people who actually need help with real emergencies. The snow fell fast and steady in Matthews-Schuylkill County Wednesday afternoon, as it did here in Sugarloaf Township. We did hear reports of crashes on area roadways throughout the afternoon, calls that were likely handled by 911 centers like this one in Hanover Township.
First of all, I want to assure the county residents and the visitors that we have extra staff on. We're well prepared for this storm.
911 Executive Director Fred Rosenkrantz urges people to only call when it is an actual emergency.
911 should only be called in an emergency. If you're looking for any type of updates on road conditions, you should be calling 511. You should not be utilizing 911 for that type of call.
Rosenkrantz says unwarranted calls to 911 could lead to problems in real emergencies.
Well, if you're tying up a 911 line for something like that, someone who's having a heart attack or experiencing an emergency at the time may not be able to get through.
Again, we're back here live on I-81 in Sugarloaf Township. Tractor trailer heading south on 81 near the West Hazelton exit. Again, if you need road condition information, call 501-PA, which is PennDOT's line, and or for social service agencies, 201-PA. And also, by the way, Rosenkrantz said that you can text 911 in Luzerne County and get help as well. Reporting live along I-81 in Sugarloaf Township, Luzerne County. Andy Boholichuk, Eyewitness News, back to you.
It's going to be a long night. Andy, thank you. Always a tough spot for commuters. The Pocono Mountains are expected to get a large amount of snow from this storm. Our Caroline Forback is live for us in Stroudsburg tonight with an update on conditions there. Caroline?
Well, Nick, you can see the snow is really picking up here in Stroudsburg in Monroe County, where a winter weather warning went into effect around 1 o'clock this afternoon. I'll step out of the way so you can see what the roads are looking like here in downtown Stroudsburg. Now, road conditions are quickly deteriorating. This is what the turnpike looked like around 3 p.m. PennDOT trucks were out in full force. It looked like most people were listening to travel advisories because the highways had very little traffic. Cars started sliding and a few pulled over when we got onto I-80 around 4. Getting off the highway in Pocono Township, officials declared a snow emergency this morning and asked residents to limit travel. Other local municipalities followed suit as snowfall picked up throughout the day. In neighboring Stroud Township, this is what 611 looked like before 5. How are the conditions?
They're slick. Yeah, it's icing up. Even after they plow, it's kind of slippery afterwards. Right. A lot of your hills, you know, when it gets icy, the roads got major hills on them. That's where you see a lot of problems.
Conditions are expected to get worse as the night goes on. Most businesses in the area closed around 4 to let employees get home before the roads got too dangerous. We will continue to keep you updated on conditions here in Monroe County throughout the night. For now, reporting live here in Stroudsburg, Caroline Forback, Eyewitness News.
Caroline, thank you. Signing day for the nation's top high school football athletes. We'll hear from one of our area's young stars putting pen to paper in sports.
And coming up, continuing team coverage of our big storm tonight. We'll have an update on conditions from the airport in Avoca next.